The left turned to ignorance. The leftist Socialist Green Party decided to go pedal to the metal on clean energy at the beginning of a grand solar minimum mini ice age. Typical brain fart on their behalf. A light bulb ticks on in their my way or the highway mindset, so it has to be implemented immediately regardless of folly, regardless of job loss, regardless of consequence. They're the type of idiot that believe we can go electric everything without adequate infrastructure. Like having a charging station run by a diesel generator. We are nowhere near being able to support those crackpot notions. We would have to have 100 times the amount of so-called clean energy units to even put a dent in their expectations. This week was a prime example of how inefficient solar and wind can be with temperature and sunlight at levels of impotence. All means of clean energy were brought to a screeching halt due to freezing and snow cover throughout the southern states. Another noteworthy subject is the environmental destruction needed to build solar and wind energy units. Just one windmill takes several tons of steel to make its skeleton, and several diesel and gas-powered vehicles and ships to get it to its destination, where it may only be operating at 50% capacity for its lifetime and needs constant maintenance and petroleum products to keep it breaking even. Do we need to go into solar panels and their destructive ingredients? No, I think we have a pretty good idea of how much mineral and metal harvesting that involves, not to mention most are made overseas and shipped to fossil fuel burning cargo vessels. By wrecking our resources in a different progressive sounding way doesn't make it less destructive. It was like the 80s, where the liberal wackos took away our paper grocery bags and replaced them with plastic, trying to save trees. Now we live with them crying over all the plastic floating around in the oceans, to where they now beg and weep for paper again, as they rack up thousands of dollars in monthly utility bills at their mansions. Hypocrites by any definition but their own. Common sense has evaded them their entire aloof lives. If they really want to tear everything down and rebuild it green, I wonder just how much it will decimate natural resources. How many mines and quarries and factories will litter the earth with filth and undegradable toxins in regions and countries with no regulations. Our planet is 2/3 water. Why not use it since they claim rising sea levels? No, that's off limits for them since they've been trying to save the whales for 100 years. But someday they will blame whale farts for methane global warming. They're okay with euthanizing all land-walking food animals in the name of the climate. I really love the organic movement. It's just an excuse to over-regulate farmers, resulting in higher prices so they can be sold in the hipster stores and make the yuppies proud of the flesh they consume. You know, the people too ignorant to know anything grown on Earth is organic by their own scientific definitions. Like the grass-fed movement. I prefer the delicious grain-fed creatures over the irony gamey grass-fed ones. But again, it's to give that warm fuzzy feeling to the hipster that the moo-moo walked the beautiful grassy knolls before its demise. Now they want to replace all food with lab-grown and sim foods. They want everyone to eat recycled and pest-based rations to eliminate animals and farms that allegedly harm the environment. Meddling with foods we've relied on for centuries, foods that we have bent over backwards to efficiently produce and reduce waste to the point most small farms become unsustainable and unaffordable. The leftist socialist wackos have to control and regulate everything until it gets crushed under the weight of it all, which happens to be their endgame, total control of the people by way of food. Through regulating, rationing, and corporatizing. Once the animals are taken out of the food equation, along with all of their crop nourishing fertilizer, What will they suggest as an alternative? Some expensive factory-produced substitute? Keeping things efficient and responsible comes naturally on a farm without being mandated to the point of monetary insolvency. Just last year, their wondrous mandates that only allowed certain foods be consumed industrially caused mass euthanasia of food animals and crops to be tilled under. Foods that could have easily been repurposed on an emergency basis, but emergency spending and many other regulations were easily bypassed in the name of the pandemic. As long as they feel their ideas are far more important than having a viable solution, the more damage to resources and sustenance we'll have to endure until we're eating their approved rations and being sickened by their unforeseen pollutant side effects. Prepare for food and supply insecurity. Also for lack of security and more ignorant side effects. We'll all suffer so the libtards can feel good basking in their psycho self-proclaimed morality. Be ready for anything. Become independent now or be a dependent later. Thanks for watching. Pray, love, and live well.